Did FSU leave today?
Not today.
Or do I have to wait for that tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow either. I was kind of glad.
What are they doing?
Step one. It's
Step one of what?
The tiny domino.
Cut a hole in the box?
No,
Like, what are we doing?
no. It's the tiny domino that's going to lead to the big domino.
But they've been talking about this for months. They already did one of these Board of Trustees meetings where they had a Festivus where they aired their grievances against the ACC and how we're going to get to the bottom of this grant of rights. If the grant of rights could be broken, it would have been broken by now, and it probably would have been done under silence and out of nowhere by another school, not somebody like Florida State that's constantly saber-rattling.
So fundamentally, just in terms of like procedure, they do need the board's approval to take legal action against the ACC. And what it would be is it would be a complaint asking if the grant of rights can be held up. And they've also got a couple other potential like items that could be in the declaration of this lawsuit. I'm not a lawyer. You know, once we get the document, you can figure it out. But the way that it's been explained to me is that this is about clarity, and this is about clarity on the number. How much? Because we keep talking in general, like $120 million is the exit fee plus the grant of rights. And who knows what that could be negotiated down to. And it says, okay, let's take it to a court. Let's figure out exactly what it is going to cost, and then we can do our private equity dance where we sell out our whole athletic department.
It's in the grant of rights, Chip.
So it is starting. We
talked to Bubba Cunningham this summer, and he pretty much laid it out. It's a very specific thing.
Mixtape.
I'm telling you their play. Okay. I'm not asking you. I'm not defending.
Okay, I'm just
the play.
No, yeah. You're now Danny Cannell.
Right. No. I just got done talking to Bud about this, who is a lawyer and also Florida State guy. So like he is uniquely qualified.
Of course he is.
I mean, he was saying this like, all right, guys, if I can get my hands on the lawsuit, I'll do a 60-second YouTube short tomorrow. I swear. But Bud's dialed in, and the way that he explains it is that, there is an outcome where a court's like, actually, this grant of rights, cannot be held up, which I agree with you. If that was the case at all of the legal experts at all of the schools that have looked at this thing, we would have reached that point. So I'm eliminating that as a potential. But there is you create this lawsuit, you start to ask for actual valuations to be placed on this, and you reach a negotiated settlement. I mean, in the same way that the professional golf is just dealing with lawsuit, negotiated settlement, and in the negotiated settlement, line number 1 is all pending lawsuits are done. And so Florida State's going to get in and start doing that dance with the ACC. I mean, it's going to be a legal fight that are going to dictate terms for Florida State's exit, because Florida State is leaving the Atlantic Coast Conference. Yeah. It's just a matter of when and how much it's going to cost.
Nobody is at this point. If we had this conversation earlier in the summer, I would have said, nobody's leaving, settle down, like you're going to be sitting a while.
Right.
But then with everything else shaking out, and then the silliness of adding Cal, Stanford, and SMU, and given how this college football playoff thing played out, I'm now fully on board. This thing's a wrap. The days are numbered. But I'll stress this again. Go back and listen to our conversation with Bubba Cunningham, who continues to be the most level-headed person in all of these conversations. And when you had asked him about the reported nature around bringing those three teams on.
It was explained to us, at least through sourced reporting, that the reason Stanford, Cal, and SMU were added was in the event that Florida State, Clemson, or Carolina leaves the
and also to change the math on the dissolve the conference vote.
Yes.
Because you also, by bringing them in,
there's that.
you no longer dealing with...
You're going to vote our way.
It is the Magnificent Seven defense that is being done by the schools that were not included in the Magnificent Seven. Shout out Brett McMurphy, as always.
Bubba said the most important part that I've also been screaming for a long time. When I say it, whatever, I don't expect people to listen. But when an AD who knows the numbers and understands how this plays out says it, people should pay attention. These shifts occur at the end of television deals.
Agree.
An AD with a stake, by the way. This isn't like some AD on the outside of the table. Like this is Carolina. They have a shot at this thing.
No offense to John Curry, who's a great interview, but Wake Forest is not in these types of conversations about where would they land. North Carolina is viewed as a team that would actually maybe even participate in that FBS Plus for all we know.
Yeah.
So the point is, Bubba's out here telling you, yeah, man, I mean, we got to wait for a media deal to run out before we really have a conversation.
Well, in a previous conversation, which again was in a different environment, he told you, he was like, well, let's be honest about this. There's the exit fee, and then there's the number. And he even used that phrase with you. He said, what is the number? And nobody knows. And my read of Florida State's potential legal action, which I do think they will green light at that Board of Trustees meeting, is to find out the number. I think that they are in touch with private equity, and private equity says, well, what's the number? And they say, we don't know the number. Yeah. Well, and so now they just have to start the fight.
Shout out to blatant homerism, Alan Kenny, who says, oh, please, private equity, buy Florida State's athletic department.
I'm ready for Live FSU football schedule.
And then they'll strip that thing down to the bone of saying, wow.
What's the ROI of this cross-country program? Let's just get rid of that.
They might look at the ROI on the football program and say, what are we really doing here, guys? Do we need all these people in these positions? Nah, let's run this like a lean, mean ship. Vulture. That's whatever the name of the Succession, what was it called on Succession? The media company that I can't remember. Was it Vulture?
The one that the Swedish guy was running?
No, that was something else. It was the one that the eldest boy wanted to create. But anyway, you get my point. They're going to run that thing into the ground if you sell yourself to private equity. I just feel like at some point, Florida State, people will just look at them and go, guys, we get it.
Right.
Like, we get it.
Well, and that's the other thing. It's like, it's newsy, but it's not newsy because we get it. We understand where this is headed. And that's the other thing about timeline. Okay, so nothing's going to happen until 2030 or 2028 when these media rights deals start running up. But it's going to take a long time for this court battle. Mm-hmm. They're gonna file something, then we're gonna have another counter file, and then we're gonna move this thing around. It might be 6 months before we're even there. The next date that matters is August 15th, 2024, because
they have to get the notice.
Right now, Florida State is an ACC member for the 2024-2025 academic calendar, and they have to be
the hottest
in.
mic in the history of the world.
It's
by the way.
fine, Joe.
Just so you know.
Okay.
It's fine.
Am I overpowering?
No, he's not overpowering.
Am I too much for you now?
His little earbuds are getting overpowered. So that's all it is.
And look, and everybody's congested right now, so our ears are popping.
I know, it's
fine. August. The next date that matters is August 15th, and I think that our friend David Hale even was like, look. 2024, Florida State's probably in the ACC. 2025, Florida State's probably in the ACC.
You're in the ACC up until 2028, dude.
But this is
2028.
I'm just saying. And you know what? Honestly,
because that's
I do not care to bet on when they leave. I truly do not care.
I don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess your money up. Okay.
Hey, we're Big Ten now. We're all in on the Big Ten. Let's go.
And that's terrible. Rutgers, Iowa games.
Penn State.
Now Chip is overpowered. Now he's picking up. Now he's overpowering the microphone. What microphone
is the hottest mic in the history of microphones
for your podcast? Because when you start the podcast, it's like your intro, man. You're loud on your intro.
I mean, they're not a corporate sponsor, but the Rodecaster pod mic. Yeah.
No, Joe, it's fine. Joe,
I mean, I can step back. It's all right.
No, it's fine, Joe.
It's all right.
Joe's had one too many short beers.
No, I haven't.
No, not at all.
That's the mic I got in trouble with. That's all.
Oh, that's the microphone that we had.
All three were yelling at each other and you had to scrap a whole segment?
No, you heard about that one. No.
Wait, which one? Oh.
Yeah, that was a Brownlow segment that never aired. It never aired.
I loved hearing these two. You guys had to drop cutting room floor.
Yeah, Chip knows about that one. That never saw the light of day.
The Louisville Atlantic Coastal Division champion.
Yeah. It was such a
they were so triggered.
It was just it had devolved into such horrible content. It did. An executive decision had to be made.
They were so triggered.
Yes.
You weren't.
No, you weren't. Hey, we're not doing that right now. We're not. No, we're not doing that right now.
All yelling.
I know. I'm yelling right now. No, I know you're using the pod mic. That's what you're using for
the Rodecaster.
That mic could pick up the homeless guy across the street. Just so you know. That mic is crazy.
As somebody in the comments said, are you sure that wasn't Mac Brown still yelling about Dave Dorn?
Could be.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Just coming outside. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Yes. I don't want to mess up your money, but somebody does have to pay for these schools to go to your conference.
Mm-hmm.
Disney is in cost-cutting mode. Your company seems perfectly happy with who they have in the Big Ten and the teams that are coming to the Big Ten. And I can't imagine that Florida State, as prideful as they are, would be willing to go to the Big Ten or the SEC at a cut rate deal the same way that Washington and Oregon out of desperation entered that league. I can't see that happening.
The way it was described to me is there was a little bit of a shift behind the scenes where there was a group of Florida State power brokers who are kind of the mindset of, we want to be in the SEC. We want to be in the SEC. You know, the SEC is the move.
Sure.
And that what's happened over the last couple weeks has had them now saying, well, we don't care. Like
We'll
go anything. And that being able to get them at least further from their position, because I've heard that the SEC ain't playing ball.
Of course not.
No, of course not.
So,
because Alabama, Georgia, Florida, they do not want Florida State in their league.
Final chip is the 9th conference game. And ESPN would not pay for the 9th conference game. So that tells you where these television companies are in terms of what they're willing to pay for.
Sure.
And another mouth to feed is something that I can't envision.
It's not about the mouth. It's about what those other schools want.
But my point is that if the switch is flipped for some of these power brokers, then as prideful as they are, I still think they take a cut rate deal. Because right now they are just like, get us out.
Just get us out.
Just get us out.